Welcome to another edition of Chicago Crossing Model Railroad at the bench. It's me, Eric, here with you in the train room, doing a little bit of revising to the connections on my breakout board that goes for my computer power supply. This is something that you probably commonly see in the railroad world. Is you use one of these things here to be able to provide power to your layout. And of course, when you have an ATX power supply like that, then the question is, how do you actually convert that to something that is usable on your railroad? There's a lot of great videos out there about DIY projects. These sorts of breakout boards are available on Amazon or almost anywhere, really. They're relatively inexpensive, and for a time is money perspective, if you don't want to make it a specific DIY project, you can use one of these. The way that functions is the main power cable actually just goes directly into this bus right over here, and then that distributes to each of the rails. So what that means is you end up getting -12, +12, which of course has a much higher current draw, +5 and +3.3 volt rails that you can run accessories off of for your layout. I use the 12 and the 5 here. The 12 runs a whole bunch of different accessories ranging from the signals on the layout to the street lights. The +5 is stepped down just a tad for the Miller engineering signs. You can of course step everything down off of a 12 if you want. There's enough current there, but I figured I would just go ahead and use both when I designed the power scheme for the layout. Anyway, it has a really simple on-off switch, as you can see. Also has 5 amp fuses here. It's always important when using a power supply that can throw a lot of current through your layout to have at least some sort of protection, whether it's fuses or breakers, in line with this stuff to make sure that you don't completely destroy everything that you've worked for wiring just by having a power surge run through something like this. So the way that this is set up is basically you have these posts and simple little screw down terminals like that, and that's all well and good. In order to be able to attach power to that in a way that's both removable and also that is sturdy, I'm basically using these. They're little ring terminals here, and those will sit down on the posts, and that will basically provide consistent connectivity here. So as with what I did for DCC wiring on the layout, once these are in here, they get crimped with a crimping tool, and then they get soldered as well to ensure that the connectivity between these is uninterrupted. And at that point, it makes a nice and secure but removable connection. So anyway, it's a quick project, a quick video, so let's just go ahead and do that. And now it's just a matter of putting these ring terminals back onto these posts here, and then we're ready to go. Chicago Crossing has a defined color code for what voltage wires are what. So this way there's no confusion when connecting these back to the base of the Canon plug. So just in case you were wondering what it actually looks like inside of the Chicago Crossing model railroad power rack, here's what it looks like. Up on the top, that is the pile power conditioner. You can see that has a cable that plugs into regular wall power, and then all of the different power supplies for Chicago Crossing just plug into that. And then over here you can see this is the back of the Canon plug that runs all of the power through one cable up to the layout. These are Wago connectors. These are nice because they're detachable. I want to try to keep everything kind of detachable, especially when it's connected to a big old plug like this. And these provide nice and stable power connections with low resistance, provided that you use them correctly. And once they stay, they kind of stay. So that's also really nice. All right, so now you can more or less see how everything is configured here. So I've powered back on the ATX supply, and then I've also thrown the power switch back on for the Breakout board itself. Currently the power to the rack is off, so of course nothing lights up or spins or anything like that. So we'll just go ahead and turn everything on, do a quick test, make sure everything is good on the layout. All right, quick test. We have 24 volts, so that's independent of the power supply. Street lights are 12 and signs are 5. Yep, everything looks good. I always love an evening in Chicago Crossing Model Railroad. Always looks so fun. All right, we'll leave it at that. Talk soon.